Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
We may never see the likes of evangelist Billy Graham again, and that's a shame. We need more people like him now. Here comes Kate Smith, and God Bless America on a Thursday. Good morning, good morning. Call in with the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. And a good morning to you, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell. Good morning. Glad to have you with us. And, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, and service is the key word. Thank you very much for all your help. And along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Jerry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Always well done, Jerry. I hope to see you at Lunch Bunch today. Thank you for calling in. We appreciate it.
I will probably roll in.
Oh, all right, buddy. Thank you so much. Hey, right now it's time for our weather forecast, and the weather brought to you by our dear friends at K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway, and they offer the rental of the best tools and equipment in the area. And spring is around the corner, old Roger says, and get ready for the outdoor cleanup work, and they've got all the lawn and garden equipment that you need at K&R Rental. You better plan ahead. Get ready, K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway. Right now, here's the weather.
Looks like Mother Nature decided we're going to have some more winter. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are expecting some scattered snow showers for today, mostly afternoon, mostly cloudy skies, high of 31, and they're saying total daytime accumulations of less than 1 inch possible. For tonight, those snow showers could continue under mostly cloudy skies. Still going to be a little bit on the breezy side with the low right near 14. For tomorrow, 20% chance of snow showers before noon, mostly cloudy skies, then gradually becoming sunny as we hit tomorrow afternoon, high of 27. Wind chill factor values as low as -1 for tomorrow. Tomorrow night, increasing clouds with a low of 18. Saturday, 40% chance of snow showers in the forecast, breezy, and a high of 33. That is your weather for 7-3.
A lot of angel dandruff out there. But right now, don't forget K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn. They're on that Burley-Paul Highway. And they have all the equipment, and they've got all the information to help you in case you're not sure what you need. Hey, give them a call, 678-3122. And that's, of course, our friends at K&R Rental. Nice people over there. Give us a call and talk to us a little bit. But right now, we're going to hear from our geared friends over at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Of course, today is sale day. Merv May, come on in here.
All right. Hey, good set of steer calves there here here to $1.31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5.
Oh, that's the chant of the world's best auctioneer, in my opinion. That's Merv May over at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Sale time at 10:30 this morning, and it is the sale that works for you. I've got a partial list of what's going through the ring today. They're going to have some really good light feeder heifers, 450 pounds. Get it right, Zeb. 400 to 450 pounds out of Nevada. Good Nevada cattle coming out of the Silver State. And then Hurtado Ranch over at Malta's bringing in a semi-load to 600 to 700 pound steers. Butcher cows coming through the ring today from Acme Dairy, TLK Dairy, and the Funk Dairy. Sale time at 10:30. Don't miss it. They're going to have a great big trailer line run and a lot of other cattle going through the ring at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. And sale at 10:30 today. Merv May, Cade Rocky, and Lance Udy, 678-9411. Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, he gets the steer calves there here to $1.31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 130, 550, 135, and selling $1.35. Zeb Bell gets bottom again.
Oh, thank you, Merv. Thank you. Hey, we've got some notes here that I want to take care of. Tomorrow is the anniversary. Happy anniversary to you. Sam and Donna Perkins, they are such nice people. Sam and Donna Perkins, some of our lunch bunchers, and we appreciate that. And they're celebrating, I don't know how many years, but I'm sure it's marital bliss without ever having a crossword, etc. Happy anniversary tomorrow. And then we have a birthday boy on Sunday. One of the quietest, most shrinking violet personalities I've ever seen or heard in my life. Happy birthday to Eddie Donago. Yep, Eddie is also one of our great lunch bunchers, and we will probably wish him a happy birthday again at 11:30 this morning. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to remind you about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. And I say heating and electric, and I left off the word cooling because it's still doggone cold out there. And they're located at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And the number to call is 678-0459. They open the doors at 7:30 in the morning till 5, Monday through Friday. And it's true. All your heating, cooling, and electrical needs right there with a business that has been serving you for almost 60 years. Wonderful people, knowledgeable people at Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. As you know, once a month we get together and we have a luncheon at the America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. America's Diner at 611 North Overland in Burley. Today is the Zeb's Lunch Bunch Day, and I am looking forward to this. It's kind of the sweetheart month, the month of February. And we're all going to gather there at 11:30, and we want to say thank you to our gift certificate donors, Walmart, Smith's Foods, Hanson Mortuary, Stokes Groceries, Doug Martin, good old boy, heavy emphasis on the word old. And, of course, don't forget, too, Pomerell Place that many times is donated, and then Denny's themselves. It's a wonderful, fun event at 611 North Overland in Burley. Great food all the time. And super nice people at America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. You stop in. All righty, let's get into a couple of our stories this morning. Did you notice last night, I want to hit a couple of these smaller stories first, that the United States women's hockey team defeated Canada, which is really something. I mean, that is to be underlined. The United States women's hockey team defeated Canada for the gold medal at the Winter Olympics, but some of the Canucks did not take it very well. As a matter of fact, some of the media has tried to gloss over it and not show the event that took place in the line of the champions when they pass out the medals, etc. But when they came to this one Canadian girl, they placed the medal on her neck and she ripped it off and let it lay on the ground. The sportsmanship was not there. Let me tell you, it's hard to lose. And in some respects, it's easy to win. And I mean this seriously because I've been on both sides of that equation many, many times in my life. It's really easy to win and be a good winner, but it's really hard to lose and be a respectful loser. I'm not saying a good loser. There's no such thing as a good loser, but a respectful loser. And this girl last night from Canada, woo, that didn't bode well. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I got good news. There's free lunch, even though some people say there isn't. So, first-time single or couple at the Burley Senior Center, Senior Junction, it's called, South Overland. Somebody that's never been there before, I'm buying lunch today or tomorrow. Now, better news is today we're having turkey and dressing and all of the trimmings.
Oh, my.
And welcome everybody, but some senior that's never been there before, I want to buy their lunch.
Oh, Joe, I tell you what, you are such a good guy, and I really respect you. Joe Taylor, you heard him. He's going to buy anybody any age that's never been there before for lunch. He'll buy lunch. First person in the door that says, hey, Joe, I've never been here before, he's going to rip that billfold out of his pocket and pay the bill. Right, Joe?
That's right.
Okay. God bless you, Joe. Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right.
Appreciate you and all that you do.
Thank you, Joe. What a great man. He's buying lunch for somebody that's never been at the Senior Junction today at noon, so please be there. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to get into the listening session yesterday at the White House, and if you have any comments on that regarding the absolute travesty and misery that happened in Florida, we'll talk about that in just a moment. Don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. If you're having any problems, maybe after a surgery or an accident, whatever, let them know they can help you. And they can help any age, from 6-month-old babies to 96-year-old people. I'm getting close. And don't forget they've got the only hydrotherapy pool around. And all of this with the top-notch physical therapists. Nick Greenwell and the staff at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Call for an appointment at 678-1191. They are good people. Oh, and by the way, too, let me not forget to tell you all about Pomerelle Place. We are going to be talking to Holly a little bit later on. I told Wheels, I said, don't mess up that phone call. He said, yes, sir, I'll take care of it. They happen to have some kind of a knowledge of each other. Anyhow, I want to remind you, Pomerelle Place, living at home, it might sound, well, I can still stay at home, even though I'm alone, but there's a lot of danger. I mean, isolation and being lonely, man, I tell you what, I couldn't handle that. And safety hazards, poor nutrition, and if I had to fend for myself, I would starve to death. And missed medication. Well, at Pomerelle Place, it offers the ability for seniors to maintain their independence both safely and comfortably. Please find out more. Give them a call at 677-8212. Pomerelle Place, a place for senior living at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. The listening session yesterday at the White House I found to be extremely compelling for a couple of reasons. It absolutely told me to stay and watch it in its entirety. The parents, the students, the teachers, the school administrators, the security experts, all of them were sharing how to make and keep our schools safe. What can we do? And I know a lot of people are Trump haters. They always will be. They will not find a positive in anything the man does. But yesterday I saw a listening and a caring and a sharing president that I know is there. It's happened before, but the media won't pick up on it. And like I said, they'll never give him any credit. I really watched him and his body language and his responses, and all of the opinions were heard, and all of the opinions, whether I agreed with their opinion or not, they were respected, and that happened at the White House. This time must not pass, and I mean this. Something has got to be done. There has to be stronger, more stringent security methods employed at all schools across this United States. I don't care how small they are. I don't care how big they are. And later on this morning, we're going to be, on behalf of the segment Cache County School Days, we're going to be talking to a gentleman by the name of Kit Kanakoa, and kind of pick his brain a little bit as to what his thoughts are on security and safety, because this has got to stop. Absolutely. And I'm anxious to hear his comments later on this morning. Calls welcome. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Maybe you, the audience, has some ideas, or have ideas that need to be lengthened and broadened and brought up in front of various school boards, whatever. Sometimes, and it happens a lot of times, people within the environment of trying to think of something that would help, they can't think outside the box, and it takes people from outside that circle to maybe come up with some ideas that are very, very justified and noteworthy. So call if you have any ideas. I'd like to hear them right here on the air, too. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Did you happen to hear about Rosie O'Donnell? This woman is so hate-filled against Donald Trump. She absolutely cannot stand him. And she's kind of been out in the left field area, maybe even up in the bleachers eating popcorn for the last couple of years. No television shows, really no great viewing or listening by the American public. She's faded. Well, now she's trying to get back into the eyeball and the ear of the American public. And what she's done is so distasteful. She has decided to be a so-called artist. And when I say so-called, boy, do I mean so-called. I saw some of the artwork, and basically all the artwork depicts Donald Trump, our president, as a racist, as a hater, and as a liar. She is going after him in the artwork. And the despicable part of all this is, and I've seen the artwork, and any second grader could do a lot better than Rosie O'Donnell. But it's selling. People on the left are gobbling this garbage up, and it's selling. And I want to just ask you a question, and I know there's a lot of you out there that like to respond to these kind of questions. What do you think would have happened? Imagine if I or you, during the 8 years of the Obama administration, had done the same thing. And we had created, if we had created artwork that would have called Barack Obama a racist, or called Barack Obama a traitor, or called him a hater and a liar. How far do you think that would have gone? Give me a call, and it's a double-edged sword. It's a double standard in this country. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call, excuse me, I'm going to have to apologize for that throat. It gets close to the spring of the year, and yours truly just has a bad set of pipes. I apologize for that. Berry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, along with 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and a location up in Nampa. Now, they are the big Bobcat dealers. Oh, my goodness sakes, they've got all the Bobcat excavators, new and used excavators for sale or rent. Like I said, all all shapes and sizes. And all your equipment rentals, retail equipment sales, everything right there at Barry Equipment and Rental. They have the equipment to get the job done right. Juan and Burley on Highway 30, Eli and Twin Falls on Addison Avenue West, and the Nampa location, Barry Equipment and Rental. Oh, my goodness. Come on, give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. As I mentioned in the opening remarks, the world is mourning the passing of Reverend Billy Graham, passed away at age 99. Wow, what a life. I mean, I can remember vividly when I was a teenager, and it was mandatory in my home that when he was doing a evangelistic speech on television, we watched. And he was good. He was good. And it's estimated that Reverend Billy Graham had preached to over 200 million people in almost every part of the world. And if one thing is to be learned and remembered by Reverend Graham, do not sit silent and do nothing. And boy, that's true in almost everything in life. Do not sit silent and do nothing. As I mentioned in the opening remarks, we need more people like him right now. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. More of the black racism in our country. I'm going to start on this program calling it what it is. It's so easy for all the minorities, if they want to play the race card. And it's so easy to say, well, so-and-so is a racist. They've done that to me. So-and-so is a white supremacist. So-and-so this and that. Well, on ESPN, unfortunately she's not there on a featured broadcast. She has been shown the gate. ESPN's Jemele Hill had a guest appearance as a co-host on ABC's The View, you know, with the likes of Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of those clowns looking for a circus. And she made him a remark during the discussion that President Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists. The temperature in this country is rising. And as a Caucasian, I'm a little bit more leery and looking over my shoulder and tuning up the volume to listen and hear what's going on with people that are trying to condemn Caucasians or the whites in this country. But when you do that, I have already received some calls, and people are saying, wow, you just proved that you're a racist. You just proved that you're a white supremacist. How? What have I done? What have I said? I'm very proud of my family. I'm very proud of my heritage. I'm very proud of this country. I'm very proud of our founding fathers. Now, that's not to say that I'm sitting here going, boy, I sure am glad George Washington was white. Or I sure am glad that Dwight D. Eisenhower was white. Nobody said that. But I'm very proud of the people that have put their lives on the line to make this country what it is today, the greatest country that's ever been in the world. And the minute you say that you're proud of your past and your heritage, now, and I'm going to be blunt, there are blacks that are racist that are coming out and going, yeah, see, you're a white supremacist. Oh, yeah, boy, look out for you. Can't we be proud of our race? The same as perhaps they are proud of theirs. And this woman, Jemele Hill, said she started to back up a little bit. she started to pour the water back into the horse trough when she said, well, I don't think his supporters are white supremacists. What I would say, though, is that they have the benefit of privilege to be able to distance and to disassociate themselves from certain issues. Now, that is really a vague statement. They have the privilege of being able to distance and disassociate themselves from certain issues. I really would like to hear more of a explanation on that. And then she was asked if she would consider someone like Ben Carson, an African-American member of the Trump's cabinet, a white supremacist. And she says, no, I wouldn't. You know, this racism is so ridiculously stupid. But the race cards are being played not only by the blacks, not only by Hispanics, like Luis Gutierrez of Chicago, a member of the Congress, but also on both sides of the coin, Rosie O'Donnell. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please give me a call. Big bull sale. Holy moly, this is going to be a ripping good sale. It always is, because they've got the best of cattle. I'm talking about the Sheridan Ranch 23rd Annual Bull Sale. It's going to be March 3rd, Saturday, March 3rd, starting at 1 p.m. at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Yes, sir, lunch provided at noon. 80 ripping good bulls to sell, 30 coming 2-year-olds, 50 yearlings, and free delivery up to 300 miles. Man, I'll tell you what, the Cordell and Patty Sheridan, they have the top-notch cattle, and their sale is known as one of the best. Call them for more information, 824-5531, or go to their website, www.sheridancattle.com. Sheridan Ranch Bull Sale, March 3rd, 1 p.m., Burley Auction Sale Yard. Don't you miss it. Caller, good morning. Thank you.
You know, Zeb, you could have talked for 2 weeks and not mention Rosie's name. That poor girl, she's so sick in the head. I don't think there's a more racist, more demented, more un-American person in this country than that young girl.
Well, she's not exactly a spring chicken. She's not a young girl. And number two...
I'm going to call her a young girl because she's a lot younger than I am.
Well, now you're being subjective to my age also, but I will say she has always wanted to be in the spotlight. In the course of events, she is a lesbian. She has been an advocate of gays' rights. She has been an advocate for transgender rights. She's always wanted to take the left side of an issue, but she's always hated Donald Trump. They do not like each other. But to stoop to this level of creating artwork and portraying the president as a racist, a hater, a liar, etc., it's pretty low.
Well, I think he's a pretty darn good president.
I do too.
He's done a lot of things, and his whole theme is make America great. Let's improve this country. Let's make us first. And I don't see a thing wrong with that attitude.
You know, Jerry, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Stop for a minute. Let me throw something at you. You just said something that I think needs to be elaborated on. I don't want to be number 2. I don't want to be number 3. I don't want to be number 9. I don't want to be any number less than number 1. And the reason I'm proud of my country is they have always tried to be number 1. They've always tried to help others more so than themselves. Number 1 is a good feeling. Making America great again is a good feeling. For those that want mediocrity, move to Venezuela.
Well, I kind of agree with that. And if we do become number 2 in some things sometimes, I'm not going to let you throw your cowboy hat on the floor and cry.
Well, I doubt seriously if I'd throw a $700 hat on the floor, so you got that taken care of.
I just thought I'd throw that in where that woman didn't pick the medal up.
Oh, that was despicable.
That was. It's a disgrace.
Yeah.
You know, people need to lose well. You need to win well, too, though. You don't need to let it go to your head because you were 100th of a second faster than the guy before you.
Losing at the Olympics or losing anywhere should be nothing more than a training session to make you try harder to be the winner the next time.
Well, you're just learning to do it.
That's right.
And we're learning all our life. That's how we live. We make mistakes, we change our ways, and we go on and try again.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what, I've made at least one in my life, probably a million.
Let's not get into mistakes or anything like that, because I could write a book. Thank you, Jerry. God bless you, man.
You bet. May the Lord bless you and all your audience.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for calling in.
You're welcome, sir. I just forgot what I was going to say.
Well, is that what they call a senior moment?
It is. Yeah, the Canadian gals that, that sportsmanship, they made it to the Olympics, and they were number 2. Stand proud.
Yeah.
I mean, don't show your childish behaviors at the Olympics. And I think this is what we're getting when everybody gets a trophy and nobody keep score.
Well, I'm going to go back to what I said to Jerry a moment ago, and I maintain this is absolutely correct. I will go chin to chin with anybody on this. That of all the things that I've ever won in my life through competition, if it wasn't exactly first place, when I was handed, whether it was a belt buckle or whether it was a trophy or whatever, I looked at that, and honestly, it gave me the incentive to try harder to become the winner. It didn't make me feel animostic against anybody that had handed me the trophy or the buckle and threw it on the ground. It made me want to try harder.
Okay, and who was responsible for being second place?
Me.
You were.
That's right.
It was the team or someone else you went up against was just a little bit better, a little more prepared.
Yep.
Whatever, So that's what makes you strive to be better. And it's Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah.
I wish these liberals and celebrities wouldn't lie to us all the time. Because there were several of them, especially her, said she was going to leave the country if Donald Trump was elected. Why is she still here? She doesn't anything that he does. Why is she still here?
Well, look at Barbara Streisand and look at the Baldwin and the rest of these people. Oh, my goodness, if he's elected president, and that's not exactly the way they started their sentence, I will leave this country. I will not live in a country that has him as the leader, blah, 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 and they're still here, and they're nothing but lying cowards.
Exactly. I was taught when I was younger, do not say that you're going to do something if you're not going to back it up.
Oh, do I remember that little speech from my dad. Yeah.
Be a man of your word. If you say, I'm going to do this, you put out every effort, and if you can't, then you go apologize to the person and say that you're sorry, that you try better next time.
I got to tell you a quick story, and I'm kind of bearing my chest here a little bit. I remember when I was a junior in high school, and when you're a junior in high school, you know everything, and you're the smartest person in the world, and you could literally take over the controls of everything and fly the plane because you know everything at 16, right?
You're bulletproof.
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember my dad and I got into a small father-son altercation out in the barn. And I said something in a similar response about how I knew everything and how I was going to take care of it in a forward manner the next time. And my father, being a former boxer, absolutely changed my entire opinion on what I said.
Yeah, it's amazing how an abrupt slap on the face or kick in the butt can make you think about, well, wait a minute, now what did I do here?
I had a personality revelation, and when I got back in the house, it's amazing how I changed my viewpoint on the subject that I was concerned about.
And I think every young man has went through that, especially when they're coming of age. It's just like in the animal kingdom, when you got a young male coming up and they're thinking they're pretty tough, and they try to take on the big elk, bull elk,
yeah.
And the bull elk puts them back down in their place. and after that, everything's fine.
But you see, these people like Baldwin and Streisand and O'Donnell, they are using their celebrity as a license to go out and be sleazy and negative and say and do things that you and I could never do. I asked a question a few minutes ago, and I'll ask you to answer it. What do you think would have happened if you would have come out with something like O'Donnell against Barack Obama?
Oh, heck. They'd have come after me. IRS would have come after me. FBI would have been after you. You would be one of the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
And you would be a racist, a bigot, a hate monger. You know, they'd use every ism that they could come up with.
Well, you know what we ought to try as an experiment, and I'm serious when I say this. We ought to take a piece of this so-called artwork that O'Donnell came up with against Donald Trump and just take exactly the way it is, only remove the picture and the name and put Obama on there and the name and put that in a store or put it someplace where the public can see it, and I'll bet you all heck is going to break loose.
Exactly. The same thing as if it would have been Hillary won and all this stuff would have come out that Donald Trump had paid for a dossier and had all these people lying about Hillary.
Yeah.
And wiretapped her and everything else. The mainstream media, and they would have him tarred and feathered.
There is
a Democrat and Hillary. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
They're looking for collusion. By George, it's hitting them right in the face.
The only collusion, I'm so glad you said that because I'm so sick and tired. There was one of the dumbest things, and I hope somebody else calls in on this. I got to go do the weather here in a minute. But there was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life a couple of days ago. I know you heard it. We talked about it. Is, Mueller's investigatory team is saying, well, we're going to indict 13 Russians. Well, now stop right there. Why in the world are the American taxpayers paying for something so frivolously stupid? Because we can't indict these people to come to court back in this country. You know that the Russians are not going to extradite these people, their people. I mean, what a waste of time to say, well, we know these 13 Russians did this, and so we're going to indict them. Now tell me what common sense is that?
Well, it's to prove their worth. And also the way they worded it, and the people they indicted, they can't get back here to testify and, tell what happened. So then Hillary's still safe and Obama's still safe from their involvement in this whole fiasco.
I mean, the millions and millions and millions, and I don't mean to sound redundant, but that's our money going down the toilet, over a study that finally they come out with an indictment and they say, well, we're going to indict these 13 Russians. Okay, what does that mean? Well, we've got it printed right here, and that's as far as it goes. It's on the paper, but it doesn't mean a dadgum thing.
Yes, and it's just anybody that has any common sense can see who colluded with the Russians.
Yeah. Did you say polluted or colluded?
Yeah. It's not going that direction.
I agree. Doug, I always enjoy your opinion. Thank you. I was kidding you a minute. I walked over you, and I didn't mean to. I didn't know if you said polluted as in like a bad stream or colluded, and basically it means the same when you're talking about this mess.
It does. It really does.
Thanks, Doug.
Everybody, let's do what we can for our seniors. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's near and dear to my heart. My mother was very active with the senior centers, and I feel I'm following her path. I can't walk in her footsteps because she was a very wonderful woman. And
I appreciate it.
Follow her path and continue her journey.
All right, Doug. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Wheels over at the station on the next caller. Maybe I might ask you to turn it up just a little bit. I had a little trouble hearing, Doug, if you don't mind. Just a touch. Hey, don't forget we're going to go to the weather right now. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Somebody's saying, well, haven't you got your hearing aids turned up? Yes, I do. Anyway, Dr. Courtney Mitchell and, of course, Dr. Christine Pickup. Very skilled and compassionate. They know they want to help you with all your hearing health. So So please give them a call for an appointment at 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. Right now, here's the weather.
Looks like Mother Nature decided we're going to have some more winter. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are expecting some scattered snow showers for today, mostly afternoon, mostly cloudy skies, high of 31, and they're saying total daytime accumulations of less than 1 inch possible. For tonight, those snow showers could continue under mostly cloudy skies. Still going to be a little bit on the breezy side with the low right near 14. For tomorrow, 20% chance of snow showers before noon, mostly cloudy skies, then gradually becoming sunny as we hit tomorrow afternoon, high of 27. Wind chill factor values as low as -1 for tomorrow. Tomorrow night, increasing clouds with a low of 18. Saturday, 40% chance of snow showers in the forecast, breezy, and a high of 33. That is your weather for 7-3.
And I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And, of course, the weather brought to you by some really professionals that care about your hearing health. And that's, of course, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And the number to call for an appointment, please do. I did. Very helpful. 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. I was watching the news yesterday, and there is, and you can see it growing across this country, by those that live in urban areas and in towns and cities across the United States that have the advantage, underline that, of making a 911 call and having law enforcement be just basically a couple of minutes away. They are staging across this country gun control marches. And many of the gun control signage that was shown yesterday and some of the interviews, these people are really out to stop, stifle, and trash the Second Amendment. Now, I know that we've got some problems in this country. I know that we need to take whatever measures are necessary to keep our kids safe, but not at the risk of giving up our personal security at our homes and at our businesses. One of the signs that I caught in this march really, really bothered me, because I think it was a sign that was put together by people that really don't think about our Constitution and our American values and our freedom. The sign simply said that they did not want anybody to have any guns, only military should have guns. Think about that. I'll say it again very slow. Only military should have guns. And right there, it scared me. Because when you think of the likes of Hitler's Germany and Cuba and Venezuela and other countries under complete control by the government, they have the guns, they have the power, they have the dictates to run over you and control your life. And I'm just wondering, and I really would like somebody to call in on this right now, when Americans say they would like to basically give up the Second Amendment and part of our constitutional freedoms, only the military should have guns. I don't trust, and I mean this, I do not trust any military. I do not trust any government that wants that kind of control over its population. Somebody that thinks the sign is a good thing, call me. Somebody that thinks it's terrible, the same. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. A lot of these people that are wanting this, like you say, they live in a city, and they have the affordability of calling 911 and being within there in minutes. They don't realize, and a lot of them haven't even been out of the city to see what it's really like in the rural areas. And they don't understand that for me, like where I'm at right now, if I call, I have 2 counties who might be able to respond, but it's going to be 45 minutes or longer.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's about the same for you, possibly.
Yeah. And that
they just don't understand.
That is not against the law enforcement agencies. It's just logistics and being honest.
Exactly. These guys do everything they can to keep us safe. But what is the ratio per person, one officer per how many people? What is the ratio?
Yeah, especially in large,
for yourself.
Especially in large counties, especially tuning into Cassia County and Twin Falls County.
Well, you betcha. And it's being physically responsible, or for yourself and your family. You got to be responsible for yourself.
That's right.
It doesn't go with just food or housing or income. It also goes with protection of yourself. And until they're there. I
agree, Riley, and
that's all there is.
I really appreciate your viewpoint on that. Very well stated. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please. Oh, they're backing up. Look out, they're backing up. Call me. Come on, give me a call. It really does bother me that there a lot of the signs were for total gun confiscation. There was one sign, and I honestly did not get a chance to read all of it. They said something about pile up all the guns. And then there was another part of it, and I didn't see that. But the one that really caught my attention the most, only the military should have guns. And right away, that sent a chill up my backbone. I mean, Gestapoism and the armored vehicles. And remember the movie Red Dawn? Remember that? Years and years ago, that movie Red Dawn, and how the commies came over to this country and they were taking over, and there were American resistance fighters, including many teenagers, and they had to really grovel and find guns and weaponry and ammunition to fight back these insidious forces. Well, sometimes fiction becomes truth. I'm going to ask Wheels. I hear a little static. Wheels, how are we coming through over there? Everything all right, or am I hearing some fuzz?
There's quite a bit of fuzz. For some reason, it likes to clear up, and then it gets really staticky, but I think we should probably change the line.
I tell you what we'll do. We'll change it at 9 o'clock. I'll call. We'll address another line, so thank you very much. I've got time for a couple of more phone calls. I'd like to hear your feeling. What are your thoughts? And I'm not going to run you down. I mean, if really you're a gun control advocate, I respect that. I will arbitrate with you, but I'm not going to denigrate your opinion. I know this situation with the schools. Something has got to be done. And what that something is, I don't know. What is the key that's going to unlock that Pandora's box and give us more security? I'm not sure. Whether it's going to be having military, past military, or sheriff's agents, or whomever it might be, excuse me, in the school corridors, I don't know. But we have to do something. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Yep. Who's the guy about the water on California?
This is what I'd like to say. We need to round these people up and give them an attitude adjustment.
Well, yeah. Wait a minute, though. When you say
all those kinds, it's just not right that we're getting torn up over verbal attitudes.
Okay, I agree with that. The spoken word in this country, sir, I think you'll agree, right now is such a sharp knife, and it is cutting our country in half. And the liberal attitude is killing America with a kind of let's just go ahead and be number 2, number 3, number 4. It doesn't make any difference. That attitude is destroying this country.
That's right.
I appreciate
it needs to stop.
I agree.
We need to find a way to inform these individuals that they're basically ruining it for everybody.
That's true. Thank you. It sounds like you got a little one there that wants to have your attention, so I'll let you go. Thank you much. God bless. All right, thank you. Caller number 2, I'll be right there, I promise. I've just got to get this in real quick. Our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Don't forget, stop in for a free brake check. They'll check your brakes to make sure that when you say, whoa, you're going to stop. And if not, they've got the best of brake service to fix things up. You absolutely can depend on it. The best of tires for your cars, pickups, SUVs, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, and they provide a free pre-trip safety check to make sure that where you're going, you're going to turn around and be able to get home safely. Absolutely the nicest and best of people. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, I've got exactly 30 seconds. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I seen a quick stat the other day that said when a police come to a shooting, an average death is around 15.5. When an armed citizen stops a shooting, the average death is around 2.5.
Yeah.
So just take that as you will.
Well, I'm an advocate of an armed citizenry and the use of those arms, and I certainly don't want to see everything, our power of freedom, abdicated to the military.
That's a fact. Yeah, then we'll wind up being like Nazi Germany.
There you go. Doug, thank you much.
God bless.
All right. Hey, we're going to take a little break, come back with the Chamber Report with Kyla, and much, much more. Zeb at the Ranch, don't go away. I'll see you in 7. I'm going to get right back into this hour. I have a news note that I want to comment on. It just came into my office probably not more than 20 minutes ago. But first of all, welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. I apologize to Kyla over at the Chamber, but this sets a precedence, and I want to make sure this is announced, that Cache County Schools have new information this morning in regards to a statement that was found on social media. And I will put it forth as it was sent to me. Local, county, and state law enforcement are on site at Declo High School as this was specifically mentioned. It appears we will continue to have messages posted with the intent to disrupt school and potentially harm students and staff. The school district website is a reliable source for information and will be regularly updated. And I want to say thank you very much to Debbie Critchfield, Cache County Schools Communications Officer. I can only hope and pray, and I hope you feel the same, that whomever is doing this is caught, captured, and prosecuted to the full vengeance of the law, and no excuses. It's disrupting our students' education. It's very disruptive to a person's state of mind, and as I mentioned earlier, during the 10 o'clock hour, we are going to be visiting from Burley High School, Kit Kanakakoa, and we're going to be talking about this same issue that is now like a cancer spreading around to various schools in the Magic Valley. And God help us, I hope it stops. I also want to mention to you about our dear friends at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, the manager, his family, and the staff, serving you and your family when there's the passing of a loved one, always with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. They care, and they will help you. I want to urge you to remember to call 436-5636, the number, so that you and I and everyone can get the pre-planning of funerals to help alleviate a lot of the stress and the worry from our families. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, Joel Heward, and he is also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Right now, I know I'm a little bit late, but that took precedence over everything this morning. Kyla at the Chamber of Commerce, how are you?
I'm great, Zeb, and no worries. Absolutely, that takes precedence. I'm glad that you're talking about this. I really want to thank you for putting on Galen Smyer yesterday and his interview and just everything that you're doing. You know, my daughter attends Declo Junior High. I have to tell you that today I did not send her to school. So for the last 2 days she's gone. She's a tough kid. She plays hockey. But so when I see her rattled, that really upsets me as a parent, too.
Let me ask you, Kyla, and if I'm going into an area that you'd rather not discuss because of emotionalism, etc., but what do you think we need to do? I mean, everybody should have an idea. Everybody should put forth those ideas in a verbiage that people can take and disseminate and figure out what to do. There has to be some answers.
You know, I have to tell you something, Zeb. I don't know how much time you have, but Addison and I, when we moved here 2 years ago, we moved from the McCall, and we had lived in Riggins. And when she was in first grade, they actually had a lockdown situation. And it was the real McCoy. It was not a shooter per se that was threatening the school, but what it was is there was a gentleman who, Riggins is a small town.
Yes.
The one-room sheriff's office is located across from the elementary school in the public library as well as the city hall. So it's a small town. And a gentleman who had several warrants out for his arrest from another state got away from the sheriff's deputy there. He was hiding in houses, and they locked down the school, and we weren't allowed to come get our kids. They finally had the Idaho State Police come in and then escort them on the buses. So when you ask me what can we do, as a good parent, I was eavesdropping on my daughter talking to her friend through FaceTime last night, and they were literally, these are two junior hires in 8th grade, but they were ranking which classrooms they felt they would be safest in should something really happen. And it was interesting for me to listen because the teachers that were very honest and real, that said, here's what we're going to do if something happens. If I think I hear gunshots, I'm going to go lock the door. I'm going to turn the lights out. I'm going to put my desk up against the door. And I need you guys to go and be quiet in this corner of the room. Those were the teachers that they felt they would be safest in their classroom if something were to happen. For the teachers that were like, I know this is scary, but we're not going to talk about it, they were like, oh, we're not. That's awful. They didn't like that.
Right.
So I think the important lesson is what we can do is just talk to our kids, and absolutely, like anything else, like an earthquake or a hurricane or whatever type of disaster that can happen out there, we've just got to talk to them and have them be mentally prepared for what they need to do.
I'm going to say this, and some people will take offense at this, others will agree, but so be it. I'm not in this business to make friends with everybody. But kids are far more perceptive than what we give them credit for. Kids are much more knowledgeable about what's going on in the world and in their world than what we give them credit for. And I'm sick and tired of this attitude of, we can't talk about that because it might upset the kids. You know something, Kyla? Maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe they need to be upset. Maybe they need to be more aware, and I'm sick and tired of burying our heads in the sand.
I agree with that. I think that, I talked to my daughter. I talked to her this morning. We've been talking probably since all of this initiated, even before Florida. It's something that's out there. It's not pleasant to talk about, but I would rather, be prepared in an emergency situation than not. And I know that this will spur a lot of debate about whether firearms should be in schools. Where we came from, McCall, Garden Valley, that area, they do have firearms, and they make that known that they're there in terms of they will protect their kids. And it's going to be an interesting debate. So I guess the takeaway message is I'm really proud of this community and how they have pulled together, and people are really trying to disseminate the information to the best of their ability.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this real quick, and I don't want to get shy on time. I want to give you time to really elaborate on this. Name an event. Name some place that you can go or can't go where the event or the persons are not protected by guns. In other words, whether it's a Hollywood star or whether it's a politician, whether it's going to an NFL game or whatever the case may be, it's protected by guns. Why aren't our schools and our kids protected the same?
That's true. I think we've looked at public events, though, so differently than we have the public things that our children and our families attend. You know, because we feel they're safe. We feel school is safe and church is safe and, you know, the grocery store is safe and other things. And I'm not saying by any means that they're not. It's not the building, and this is my opinion, and not the chambers per se, but, you know, the gun is not the problem either. We have individuals in this world who, if they had a shovel, they would go and terrorize somebody. So, you know, we've really just got to look at our society in general and then just really talk to our kids about what's going on in a calm manner in terms of, you know, just like I said, if it were an earthquake or if it were a tornado, what are you going to do if this type of situation happens? How can I best prepare? Because I think if mentally kids have a game plan in terms of what they need to do, that's going to help them with coping rather than just being scared.
Yeah, I'll go back to what I said a moment ago, and I'll stand behind it, that we don't give the kids today enough credit of awareness of what the problems are.
They are very aware of what's going on. They're probably more aware than some of their parents.
I agree. Real quick, I've only got a minute left, and then I've got to scoot into my Cassia Regional Hospital segment. But, Kyla, I apologize. I went off on a tangent here with you, but I really wanted and respected your opinion. What else is going on with the Chamber of Commerce, quickly?
Well, very quickly, we have lots of wonderful events that are going to be happening. The Oklahoma started at the King Fine Arts Center. They have discount tickets available. I encourage you to get on their website or get on Facebook. The Chamber's Facebook has that link to the website for King Fine Arts Center. This weekend, it's going to be the Historic Wilson Theater Gala. Will be on Saturday, and the theme is Happy Days from the TV show. So dress in your best 1950s outfits and head on over there at 7 p.m. And then, of course, Pomerelle is going to have the February Ladies' Day coming up on February 27th. There's just all sorts of fun things going on as we finish out winter, and best of luck to all the state wrestlers also that will be at ISU at Pocatello this weekend. So, yes.
I was going to say a wonderful lady, and yes, let's not forget the wrestlers. I think sometimes basketball, football always takes a highlight, and wrestling takes second stage. We've got some outstanding wrestling athletes in this area.
We sure do. So if you have some time and want to head on over to Pocatello this weekend, that will be some fantastic wrestling action. So best of luck to all of them. So, Zeb, thank you so much. I just appreciate your time. We appreciate the communication that you're getting out to the community, and thank you for all that you do.
Oh, thank you, Kyla. You're a wonderful lady at the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
Thank you, Zeb. You too.
Thank you. I really enjoyed her remarks and her commentary, and in just a few moments, we're going to have Cassia Regional Hospital meet some of the really nice people and the departments that they work at Cassia Regional. Stand by. When you think about life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, and more, always remember the professionals, Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Dedicated and responsive to your needs, Highway 24 in Rupert. Wonderful people. All you need to do is call, make an appointment at 436-4424, Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, let's learn more about the great people and the different categories of what they do to serve you at Cassia Regional Hospital.
People caring about you and your health care in the most professional and progressive ways. That's Cassia Regional Hospital, located at 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. In a moment, we'll introduce you to just one of the many dedicated medical experts serving you at Cassia Regional Hospital. Today's program, right after this. Cassia Regional Hospital provides you and your family excellent health care answers and services. They're right here, close to home. That's right. Cassia Regional Hospital offers the latest technological advances in medicine, like their new oncology programs and telehealth, which uses electronic information and telecommunications to promote long-distance patient and clinical health care. Your friends, your neighbors. Cassia Regional Hospital, 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. Quality care close to home. We're on the air right now with Kent Holyoke, and he's the ambulance manager and paramedic at Cassia Regional Hospital. Good morning, Kent. How are you?
I'm doing well, Zeb. How are you doing today?
You know, there's so much that I think I know about medicine and about ambulance services and hospitals because all my life I've been beat up and kind of crippled up and had to take many ambulance rides. But tell us a little bit about your business and what you do for Cassia Regional.
Okay, so Cassia Regional has been the providers for pre-hospital medicine care for the community of Cassia County and some of Oneida County for the past almost 40 years. And they have been providing it at an ILS level, which is an intermediate life support level. And during the 2017 year, we have actually transitioned that level from an ILS level to an ALS level, which is an advanced life support level, which has actually put on quite a number of paramedics, and now we have both for emergency and non-emergency, like for our inter-facility transports, paramedics that actually work the ground ambulances and take patients from their residence to the hospital or from a hospital to another hospital. And so that's really been a huge transition for the folks within Cassia County. It's been a gigantic leap.
So basically the ambulance driver or drivers, they're the first line of defense in protecting and possibly even saving that person's life.
Oh, absolutely. You know, the paramedics as of about 2011 with the new I think they call it the advanced it's a medical subspecialty of a physician. Mm-hmm. And so what that actually has done is it's changed this somewhat so that actually the paramedics work as like a physician extender out into the field. So when we come out to your residence or wherever we are, then basically we work as a physician extender right in your residence, and so it's we're able to do a lot of procedural kind of things based upon our assessments and things and different signs and symptoms that the patient is exhibiting and things like that. So we're able to actually start those treatments that a physician, a lot of times a physician would start in the emergency room. We're able to start those in your residence or out on the side of the highway or wherever else we find you.
Well, Kent, tell me a little bit about the schooling and about the education necessary and maybe refresher courses. I mean, it sounds to me like you folks really have to know your stuff.
Right. So, and you're right. So, I mean, there's multiple levels of EMS training within Idaho EMS, and first of all is they have the medical responders or the emergency medical responders, which training is fairly limited. It's about I believe a 30-40 hour course. Then you have your EMT levels, which are pretty close to 100 hours. They can be anywhere from 80 to 100 hours, and then you have your advanced EMTs, which are what the intermediate level is, what we were running under up until 2017, which is another probably 150 hours to 200 hours of additional training. And then you create quite a jump to the paramedic level, which is over 1,000 hours of training, typically additionally to those advanced systems or the EMT classes. So there's quite a leap. The College of Southern Idaho teaches on the paramedic course now, and I believe that the numbers. I mean, they have a new curriculum, but the numbers were pretty much equal to or a little bit more than even the RN program that was down at CSI.
Oh my!
So the numbers are fairly similar to the registered nurse program, and a lot of the paramedics come out with their associate's degrees as the registered nurses do, and so the training for our pre-hospital medicine is really quite in depth. Unlike a registered nurse, which works, learns a lot about the human body. In a lot of different ways. Ours is really focused education on emergencies and those kind of things. And so we have a real focused education where theirs are more global. So we kind of, it's nice. It's nice working with the nurses because they have, obviously they have more of a global idea of the overall patient and the well-being of the patient, where we have a real focused idea of how our patient care.
Ken, let me ask you this, and I've often wondered, when the call comes in to Cassia Regional that an ambulance is required, how in the world do you know exactly where to go, all the coordinates and everything? How do you know all this?
Well, so we're dispatched out of Cassia County Sheriff's Department, and so we have that. That's what's nice about working here at Cassia County is we have access to those dispatchers, and so those dispatchers are they're dispatching officers to those places all the time, and so if we have any questions about locations or where the patients might be, certainly they're a wonderful resource for us to get a hold of. Plus, in this county we have quick response unit members who respond to those areas which are outside of the Burley city limits, like out in Oakley or Malta or Albion or City Rocks or any of those areas where we rely upon them a lot of the times, because a lot of times we get dispatched and we might get dispatched to a name versus an address.
Right.
So those people out in those areas are, they're you just can't replace them because they know where those addresses are. And so we're able to locate them fairly quickly, just based upon those different options that we have.
Ken, very quickly, it sounds extremely professional and the best of medical care, but when do you tell people that maybe they can drive themselves to the hospital, or conversely, they better call an ambulance?
Well, that's a real touchy thing. If there's not a life-threatening injury or an event in this person's life, they can certainly come into the hospital. We do offer, if you have, obviously, a younger child with a broken arm doesn't necessarily need an ambulance, but if that younger child is having a lot of issues with pain and those kind of things that are happening, then we're available to respond to that, to assist with that pain control. We do carry medicines on that will help with the pain, and so that's a good time to call. And really the big times is when if the patient has had a stroke or a heart cardiac event or a really severe trauma situation. Those times it's very important to call the ambulance. And the reason is a lot of times people think that they can beat us to the hospital, but in reality, if you have an elderly parent that's having a stroke and they're in their house, it takes you time to get that person out to the car.
Yes.
A lot of times, if you were up and around in the Oakley area when that attack happened, if you call us right away, we can probably be there. We'll probably be almost halfway to your residence before you're able to get the patient out into the vehicle. And it's not that we have to come to your house. We can meet you on the side of the road. Just find a white spot and we'll each pull over and then start taking care of your loved ones. But it's really important to do that. And plus, we also have direct access to this helicopter system that's been wonderful and sitting right here in Burley, and we call them very rapidly. And if the patient needs to go to a different hospital right away, because that's the one thing that we know as the pre-hospital providers is what hospitals, what levels of care each particular hospital can provide in our area. And a lot of times we can put those patients on a helicopter and fly them to a hospital. Like, say, if you're having a heart attack and you're out toward the Oakley area, if I call the helicopter right away, which we always do, then I can have you in Twin Falls and at Magic Valley and probably 10, 15 minutes, where it's going to take me that long a time to drive you to the hospital in Burley. So we look at those and say the definitive care for this patient is at another hospital. And so and the physicians here have been wonderful about that, the administration, because, we're certainly moving patients out of our area, but they understand that the main thing is we have good patient care, and that's good patient care a lot of times to do that. But so that's the other side of us, is we also have that knowledge of where the best place for this patient to go.
Absolutely. One of the great professionals at Cassia Regional Hospital, Kent Holyoke, ambulance manager and paramedic, thank you for being on the program today.
You're welcome. Thank you, Deb.
Thank you. Tune in every Thursday at 9:18 right here on Zeb at the Ranch for more about the people and the healthcare services at your Cassia Regional Hospital, 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. Quality care close to home.
And thank you very much. And right now we also want to remind you about Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. If you're doing a little sprucing up around your house, don't forget they've got the largest selection of floor coverings in the Magic Valley. And believe me, all the carpet for all the various rooms in beautiful luxury vinyl planks, carpet, and pads. All of this and more at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. And don't forget, too, a great selection of all the furniture, all the tables, the chairs, couches, everything, with a staff that really knows and understands beautification of your home. Jeff and the rest of the outfit will help you at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more, 459 Overland in Burley. And real quick also, I want to remind you about our friends at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. And now, right now, is the time to get your four-wheeler serviced and ready to go up in the hills come springtime. Absolutely the best of service departments right there at Let's Ride, along with all the accessories. And by the way, if you don't have a four-wheeler, stop in, go into the showroom, and just browse around, because they've got a showroom filled with all the items that'll provide a lot of fun and entertainment for your spring and summer. Stop into Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Right now, let's go to the phone line. A lovely lady waiting. I'm running a little bit late this morning. Rita Ramsey, God bless. How are you?
I'm real good, thank you.
Rita, we have seen absolute tragedy occur again with the shooting in Florida. And now we are starting to get some of the ramifications, even right here in the Magic Valley, with threats, be they idle threats or whether they're serious. You have to take everyone as if it were a real threat. Right here in the high schools of Cassia County, Burley High School, along with Minidoka, and now Declo this morning. What are we going to do? Give me some of your ideas as to what needs to be done.
Well, first of all, I think that by playing defense, we're at a disadvantage. So I think you have to just play offense and go forward and do what needs to be done. And we need to do it individually as school districts, even maybe right down to the schools, and let the schools decide how they're going to take care of it. The way that I say that we solve it is that we have arms, that means weapons, guns, in schools with those who know how to use them and take care of them. And it needs to be noted that there are people carrying weapons inside the school, so they're not left as a soft target in a no-gun zone, which means nobody's going to confront them.
I think your attitude and mine are exactly in a coexistence pattern, because I absolutely think now is the time, more so than ever before, to protect our kids at a very soft target, our schools. I made the comment last hour, and somebody has been trying to text me on my cell phone while I'm on the air, and they criticized me for the comment I made about you can't go to a football game, you can't go to a basketball game, you can't go to a airport, you can't go anywhere that guns are not protecting society, whereas the only real place is the schools, and our kids are left unprotected. This is insane to me.
Well, it is, and the really sad thing about it is they don't, these libs and the liberal media do not ever bring it up. You can see on TV when they go to various different schools that many of the schools in the inner cities have those big things that if you walk through there with a gun, sirens or alarms go off. And so they're checking to make sure that the kids don't have guns or knives or, weapons of any kind when they first go in the doors. So I guess the big question that I have is we probably haven't seen any mass shootings in any of those kinds of places. So that is one deterrent. I don't know that would totally, take care of it. But if the creep that's going to go in and cause harm to our kids knows that it might be the principal as they walk through the front door, or maybe it's the custodian that's just kind of there in the hallway kind of keeping an eye on things, but he's got a custodian cart in front of him. Maybe he's the one that's got the gun. They're going to be a chicken, and they're not going to go in there. And so if it's made known that there are teachers carrying concealed weapons, there are adults in there that have weapons, and there may be even police or armed guards, however they choose to do it, that's the way that you stop them, because they're not going to go someplace if they know that there's resistance when they first walk in there. They're going to go someplace where they can really make something happen. And so if you have it known to the public that there are people, whether it's teachers, administration, custodians, police, whoever in there, they're probably going to think twice before they go and do something like that. I'm not going to say it would totally stop it, but usually they don't enter into where there could be something that would be, opposition to what they're going to do, and not let them carry out what they've got planned.
Well, I would say this, and I've thought a lot about this over the last couple of weeks, and I'm not saying I have the right answers. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I believe that at every school there has to be a meeting point. And when I say the words meeting point, I mean where if there is evil trying to come onto the school grounds or try to get into the school building, there has to be a meeting point of resistance at that point before they have a chance to enter. And that meeting point has to be law enforcement or someone that is not a one-bullet Barney that really knows and understands they'd better thwart this individual.
Oh, absolutely. You and I did it when we were little. We were taught when we were in school. We not only had fire drills, but we had drills in case the Russians decided to bomb us or whatever. And so we had these little drills telling us what to do, and I'm sure that they have that kind of thing for the kids in school. And if the kids know what to do in case something happens, and the adults know what to do, and the predator knows that he's going to be confronted right at the very beginning, I think that's the offense that needs to be played.
Well, I will say this, and I've traveled more than most in my last 40-some-odd years with my other occupation and business. And I'm just stating from my position that I felt very secure and safe if I were in the Denver airport or the Orlando, Florida airport or the L.A. airport in seeing a casual walking around the concourse of individuals that represented law enforcement that were there for the security of the passengers and would thwart, using that word again, anybody that was there to do evil. So what is not the same with our kids on a school campus?
I don't know. I think the first thing that always comes up is you've got these people, and it probably starts with the administration, who are really, really conscious of how are we going to pay for this kind of stuff, is that, start having people, money, it's the money issue. We can't afford to have, armed guards at every school and da-da-da-da-da. Well, you know what? Then maybe we need to not have carpet on the floor and have a guard. Maybe we need to not have so many smart things with the lighting and da-da-da-da-da and have an armed guard instead. Maybe we just need to shift our priorities and say, you know what, our kids need to be safe, and it doesn't matter whether they have new desks or not. They're going to be safe, and that's what we're going to do.
I'm going to ask Wheels. We're having some trouble with phone lines this morning. Wheels, is this line becoming too staticky, or should we try to reestablish?
It's not as bad as last hour was, but if it gets any crazier, we'll go ahead and change it.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Rita, what about the fact that on television yesterday, I noticed there were a lot of marches, there were a lot of protests, etc., and there were people that were walking around holding placards that were for total gun confiscation, eliminate guns from our society, no person should own a gun, and condemnation of the NRA. But one sign that I mentioned last hour stood out more so than ever to me, and it was basically a sign that said, the military only should have guns. That really spooked me.
Well, this is where it comes into play that people, people even my age maybe, don't know about the Constitution, what it's for and what it provides. And when they start having criminals scaring them into something, that's really sad, because it's just saying, hey, we let the criminals win because they scared us into doing this. The things that we saw on TV the last few days regarding any of these protests or marches or forums or whatever of that, the kids, first of all, are being exploited. They should not have those kids that are close to this school at all as part of any of this. They are reacting on something that was absolutely horrifying for them. And to take advantage of them, I think, is absolutely wrong. The other thing is you'll see protests and stuff in other parts of the country, even down there, because that's where they shipped them to, is you've got people that are paid protesters that are starting that, and other people are jumping on the bandwagon. And so who is the one who is sponsoring these? Well, let's go back and look at, or is it the people who sponsors the Black Lives Matter and that type of thing? So a lot of these things are not truly ways to get stuff done. It's like we're going to jump on the bandwagon and use this tragedy as a way to promote our ideology. And I think it's just wrong.
Well, if people would look through the history books that possibly haven't been whitewashed and changed, and look at what happened with Hitler's Germany, and look at what happened in Cuba, Venezuela, the list can go on of only the military having guns. I do not want to relinquish my rights and freedoms in this country and look at a Gestapo attitude of having tanks and armored personnel carriers going up and down the road with threats against me as an American citizen. You can't do this, you can't do that, you will stay in your house, you will not drive here. And they have the only enforcement tool, which is a gun. And that really bothers me.
Well, that's right. The thing of it is the military, and I say this loosely, and I'm not aiming at people who aren't in the military right now. People in the military are the government. And when the government are the only ones that have the guns, they are tyrannical, and they become tyrannical because whether you're in the military and you're taking orders from a general or the chief commander-in-chief or whoever, you are part of the government. And so to let the government be the only ones that have arms is totally wrong, And that's why you've got communism in countries where you've got them, is they've got people who are in charge, and they have guns, and the regular people don't.
You know, I want to shift gears a little bit, and then I'm going to do a weather forecast. I think I'll do that weather forecast first, and then I want to come back and talk to you about ICE Director Thomas Homan and an attitude that I think is long overdue. I'll be right back with Rita Ramsey. Stand by. Our weather this hour brought to you by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert, and they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. They are the best, and this is tax time. Oh, a busy time for those folks. They have the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, payroll services, retirement planning. The list goes on with these very, very pronounced in their field professionals. They are good. They can help people starting a business, a partnership, or a corporation, or trying to expand their business. Please get a hold of them today. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Right now, here's the weather.
Looks like Mother Nature decided we're going to have some more winter. Here is your weather forecast for us up at the ranch. We are expecting some scattered snow showers for today, mostly afternoon, mostly cloudy skies, high of 31, and they're saying total daytime accumulations of less than 1 inch possible. For tonight, those snow showers could continue under mostly cloudy skies. Still going to be a little bit on the breezy side with the low right near 14. For tomorrow, 20% chance of snow showers before noon, mostly cloudy skies, then gradually becoming sunny as we hit tomorrow afternoon, high of 27. Wind chill factor values as low as -1 for tomorrow. Tomorrow night, increasing clouds with a low of 18. Saturday, 40% chance of snow showers in the forecast, breezy, and a high of 33. That is your weather for 7th Range.
And thank you very much. And right now, I'd like to say also thanks to Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. And they provide accounting services to you, your family, and your business. We're going to have, as a matter of fact, Mitch Goodwin on the program in about another hour, so stay tuned for that. Thank you very much. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Rita, I don't know if you heard this story or not, but ICE Director Thomas Homan said, hey, you better buckle up, California, because you may think you're a sanctuary state, but we are coming in. We're going to enforce the laws that have been enacted by Congress and get out of our way. What were your thoughts?
Well, finally, somebody's standing up and saying, okay, I'm in charge, this is what I'm going to do, and this is the law, and this is how we're going to enforce it, instead of saying, well, we'll just pretend it isn't there and won't pay attention to it, and we'll turn our backs, and everything is just, anarchy, basically. I mean, that's what's going on in California. They can say anarchy is for the whites and those that are conservative or right people, but they're committing anarchy because they are not going by the laws and they won't enforce them, and pretty soon it'll burn down.
Absolutely. But it affects all of us. It's not just a California thing. It's not just the people that live there. This is a cancer that is spreading into like the likes of Chicago, New York, etc., where mayors like Rahm Emanuel and others like Bill de Blasio are basically thumbing their nose at government and laws passed to protect citizens of this country, but yet they're hell-bent to protect illegal aliens. It's got to stop.
Well, it does, and I want to know, why are the citizens of this country on the back burner and we're protecting those who shouldn't be here?
Absolutely. I just really admire this man, and I will make a little wager with you. I'll bet you lunch that before the day is up, because of his comments and his get-tough attitude, which I very much respect, somebody will come out and condemn him and ask for his head on a platter.
Oh, absolutely. They'll do something to make it look like that, well, he's this or he did that, or some woman will come in and say, he sexually harassed me back 22 years ago and I just barely got wind of how that I should come forward and say something, and then he'll be taken into question and it'll all be, on the other hand. This is what happens when you stand up and make a point, is you get to be a target. And people who are trying to take you out will do whatever they can. They'll lie about you and everything else. And the sad part of it is that you're guilty until you can prove that you're not.
Absolutely.
And then by the time that you have proven that you're not, it's a mute case. It's all over and done with. Your reputation's been ruined. Somebody else won, and they're on to ruin the next person who's trying to stand up for what's right.
Speaking about tough people, I am very much impressed with the personality and the demeanor of our UN ambassador, and that happens to be Nikki Haley. I have the feeling that if you tromp mud on her floor, you're going to get a tongue lashing, because she really responded to a Palestinian that was at the UN the other day that basically told her to shut up, and I think she told him exactly where the cabbage was in the garden.
I didn't hear that total thing that happened, but I did hear her giving a kind of a mother scolding, you might say. and I thought, okay, you go, girl. It's finally time that somebody has the fortitude to stand up and say, this is what we're going to do, and no, it's not what you're saying it is. This is the way that it is, and this is what we're going to do, and we're going to continue to stand up for our rights and the things that America is good for, and we're not going to let you be in charge anymore.
She is you can tell that there was fire in her eyes, and when she looked around the council chambers and said, I will not be told to shut up, I think the guys that were sitting there, I believe they got the message.
Yeah, I think so, and it's not going to take very long. She's made her point since last year, and she's standing up for America, and she's saying, hey, you guys can do what you want, but we're going to just cut off the funds to you. We're going to do whatever we have to. If we have to go out on our own, we're pretty much on our own anyway, and just let them, smolder in it and see if they want to burn down or if they want to get out of it and get on board with those that need to be doing the things that are right for the world. And I mean, you would think that all of those people would be in favor of doing the right things, but it's so political that you've got the left that's mostly in charge of the UN as in the various other things, and there's just no reason for it. We don't need to be part of it. We're financing all of it.
Absolutely. Real quick, on the other side of that nickel is the story about Rosie O'Donnell. I commented the first hour, what a disgusting personality and human she is. I've always had a disdain for her, but now she's coming out with some very cheesy and low-class artwork, which a 2-year-old could do better. And all the artwork is centered around her hatred for Donald Trump, our president. And each one celebrates the fact that she calls him a racist or a hater or a liar. And the bad part of it is the left is buying this junk up.
Well, it just shows what a mentality they have, and their mentality is pretty small. They think that because they're popular at the box office, that they're just the authority on everything. Well, I'm here to tell you they're not. And one of these days, they're going to start saying, 20 years ago, we were making all kinds of money and selling movie tickets and everything else, and for some reason, we're not doing it anymore. Hello, I wonder what happened.
And a final note here this morning, the United States women's hockey team defeated Canada for the gold, and the girls from our great country were joyous and happy and giving each other hugs and just absolutely so proud of the flag. But when the line was lined up to give out the silver medal to the Canadians, they didn't act so good. One girl peeled off her silver medal and threw it on the ice. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, if I was the person in charge of Canada, I don't know, probably a premier or whatever you call him. I can't even think of it right now. Anyway, like the president guy of Canada, I would call in the Olympic people and I would say, that particular thing right there shouldn't have happened. We expect that you will deal with it, and you will make it known that if we have other athletes that do that kind of thing, they're going to be excoriated, and they won't be able to participate in this kind of event ever again representing our country. It doesn't matter what country they're from. If you can't represent your country, then you have no business doing it, no matter how good you are. Go live in some other country and see how they, how it works out for you, and hopefully it'll work out better, and you can just stay there because we don't need you. We don't need them in the United States. Canada doesn't need them. Those games are meant to unite the world, and when you have poor sports, it just causes greater contention, and it's just not the forum for it.
I believe that you will have a hard time trying to find Prime Minister Trudeau that would ever do that, but it's wishful thinking. Hey, I've got to run, and I've enjoyed our conversation. Rita, thank you so much for being a part of the program, and we'll look forward to next Thursday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a real sad display at the Olympics last evening after our girls defeated Canada. It just was a little tacky, more than a little tacky. Right now, on a Thursday, if you are hungry, like I am, and starving to death, I know some great places that you should try to go to for lunch. Listen to this. The AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. Oh, my goodness sakes, they got red raspberry and strawberry shakes. Team that up with a country-fried steak sandwich. Oh, man, I think they're fantabulous. Along with an order of fries and the fry sauce, or maybe a famous Farmer Brown burger, you are going to love the food. Right there at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Well, let's move over now to Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Oh, my goodness, they got a great big gathering every morning for coffee, and they also enjoy those delicious breakfast burritos, scrambled eggs, bacon, and sausage, cheese, onions, tomato sauce, all on a tortilla shell. Knock your socks off delicious at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. And don't forget Burgers Etc. at 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. Absolutely 2 locations serving you. And at after 3 p.m. in the afternoon, mushroom burger combo only $5.99. Wow, that is good. And every Sunday at the Burley location, shrimp dinner only $5.99. At Burgers Etc., 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. Well, let's not forget our dear friends at Steve-O's, 290 South 600 west of Heyburn. Oh, food made the way you love it. Absolutely. And along with all the different menu choices, don't forget, too, they got that new salad, the Chaos Salad, chicken breast, bacon, pickles, jalapeno peppers, lettuce, tomato, cucumbers, and all the goodies. Really, really good. And then also, don't forget, buffalo burgers and a different soup every day. All of this at Steve-O's, 290 South 600 west of Heyburn. And those are just a few places to go if you're hungry and starving to death. Coming up next hour, we're going to have our Cassia County School Days, and with us from Burley High School will be Kit Kanakoa, and then our business salute, and then at 10:30 we're going to talk to CPA Mitch Goodwin in regard to tax time, a short interview, and then of course we're going to head for lunch bunch at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley at 11:30. Right now, let's send it back to the studio and news from CBS. Good morning, and welcome back, Zeb at the Ranch, on a Thursday, February the 22nd. Good morning, and brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, don't forget some of our great advertisers, like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation with Nick Greenwell and his staff, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. I want to remind you, too, about our friends over to Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street, near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. The number to call is 678-1177, and they are a mixed animal practice, meaning big, small, they love them all, they take care of them all. And don't forget to get your dog, your puppy, vaccinated for the parvovirus. It is and can be very deadly. Be sure and take care of that. Call them. And don't forget, too, that, like I said, they're a mixed animal practice, whether it's a dog, kitty cat, or horses or steers, they're there to to serve you. Dr. Bill and the crew at Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn. Number to call, 678-1177. We're about ready to get ready for Cassia County School Days this morning, and I want to give a great big shout-out to two sponsors that have been a part of Cassia County School Days since the very beginning, and they are A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. They just celebrated their 15th birthday celebration with all the clothing and the toys and the puzzles and the baby furniture. The list goes on, and now the spring dresses, yes, I said spring dresses, are arriving at A Child's World. 1308 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see them today. And Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. Don't forget, Ambulatory Surgery Center with top-notch doctors providing you outpatient surgery and saving you money. Whether it's life-saving colonoscopies, hand surgeries, cataracts, whatever, call them, please. Ambulatory Surgery Center at 677-8888, along with A Child's World, bringing you Cassia County School Days. Let me go over and see if our guest is ready to go. I'm a minute early, but I got a lot to talk to him about. And is Mr. Kit Canacor there on the phone with us?
Yes, sir, he is.
Good morning, Kit. How are you this morning?
We're doing well. We're doing pretty good over here.
Well, let's just be blunt and basic on this program. You are, I understand, the vice principal of Burley High School. Is that correct?
Correct, yes. I'm one of the VPs. Yep.
All right. And you are also on the threat assessment team and a former law enforcement officer. Again, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You are exactly the person I want to talk to this morning. I am outraged that the happenstance in Florida was so devastating to families and to students, and I hope and pray that is the last time that will ever occur. However, we think we are safe living here in the Magic Valley, and that can't happen here. But in the last couple of days, there have been threats via the internet and coming to Burley, Declo, and Minidoka high schools. And give us an assessment from your point of view. How and why is this happening?
Well, I can tell you this. You know, when we are part of the threat assessment team that we're a part of, we focus on issues that are born here locally. So it's either past students that we're aware of or current students, sometimes some family members who may have a beef with the school district or somebody here. That's where we can really focus on the people that we know or we have some type of relationship with them. What's been happening recently has been generated outside of our area, and that's really difficult for us to get a hold on because when it's coming from out of state, which is what the first tip came in from was out of state down in Texas, that's really hard for us to really work on, and that's where we rely on law enforcement because we just don't have the resources to be able to dig deep into those type of situations.
You know, Kit, let me ask you this, and pardon me if I'm calling you by your first name. I hope you're not offended.
No, not at all. That's kind of a rough last name.
No, it is for me anyway, being an old German. But, you know, I want to talk a little bit about these threats. Whether they're from Texas or whether they're from Florida, whether they're from Virginia, it doesn't make any difference. You, as a school administrator, each one of these has to be taken with a severe threat.
Absolutely. And, you know, we tell kids this all the time. We tell parents, safety is not something we're going to gamble with. As you followed, our district has been really vigilant the last couple of years in upping security systems, you know, camera systems, the formation of the threat assessment team, our relationship with law enforcement. We live in a day and age where you cannot dismiss anything. And while we do the investigation, you know, we have the inside information, and those of us who kind of know the ins and outs of, I don't want to say profile, but kind of the history of school shootings and workplace violence, we then are able to kind of formulate a conclusion a little faster than other people. But a lot of people don't have that knowledge, and so they're relying, and their trust is on us, on law enforcement, on other public officials to really take care of their kids, and we just aren't going to gamble with that.
Let me ask you this, Kit, and I'm a little naive when it comes to the internet and all the graces of knowing about the internet and how to do certain things on smartphones, etc. But I would assume, and tell me if I'm wrong, that there is an electronic footprint that can be backtracked, and hopefully we can find these people. Am I wrong?
No, not totally. Now, as more and more of these sites pop up, and when I say sites, it's really an application, it's a website. I mean, there's so many different forms of electronic media and digital media right now that they're becoming more sophisticated, and so it's really taking a lot of resources and time away from law enforcement, where, again, we're talking about as a person down in Texas. So now it's not just one jurisdiction that has to jump through these hoops. We're talking multiple jurisdictions, and they're having to team up together. So there's a lot of resources that go into, but in a small word, yes, there's pretty much a digital footprint that they can get to. It's not everything that we may want. We may not get all the information that we would hope to get, but there is something out there.
Kit, one of the things I was talking about last night with a couple of my friends in regards to this situation and the safety and security for our kids is that when you talk about a threat coming out of Texas, my first response would be, and I said this on the air, interesting that Texas to Burley or Texas to Minidoka or Texas to Declo, like we found out about this morning. Does that suggest that perhaps there is a tie there with a family member or a sibling, whatever?
Our world's gotten a lot smaller with the digital age. Now there are a lot of game formats where you log onto a game and you are joining a team of people, and it just randomly selects. And so you could be playing with somebody in Canada, with somebody in Spain, and somebody in South Africa at the same time. I mean, it's just crazy how random these selections are. So it's not necessarily a family member or a friend sometimes. I don't know specifically in this case what it's going to end up being, but I know when these gamers log on, or anybody logs on, you can communicate with anybody around the world.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of shrunken our realm of communication now.
One of the things that I'm always afraid of, and I'm an old man, and I've been around the horn a couple of times, but when you have these kind of incidents happen, and tragic shootings, whether it was Columbine or whether it was this latest case in Florida, I honestly think the media, sometimes they are a little bit more responsible than in the past because of playing up and showing the victim, or pardon me, not showing the victim, but showing the perpetrator and almost creating him to be a social hero. And that's what I'm afraid of in the copycat instance. Do you think I'm wrong?
No, absolutely. You're very correct on that point. The district sent a team, 3 of us, down to the national conference for the Association of Threat Assessment Professionals. We attended that conference in August down in Anaheim, and they spoke specifically to this, is that you are seeing a lot of these perpetrators now that just want the stage. They just want to be, remembered for something. If you look at the New Mexico shooting that didn't happen not too long ago, he was a former student, and he just wanted to do as much damage as possible. Had no beef with anybody there. There wasn't a recent issue there. He just had carnage and destruction basically on his mind, and chose that arena. So it is very much alive that they are looking to get their, for lack of a better term, 15 minutes of fame.
I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit, Kit. Please don't disrespect the program or my attitude on this, but I think we have to have some concrete answers, and I think your opinion is very validated. What do we need to do? I'll state my case, and then you can tell me if I'm wrong. We protect, caller standby. We protect everything else in our society with guns, whether it's a football game, whether it's the president, whether it's Hollywood actors, whatever it might be. But we do not protect our schools and our kids with guns. I honestly and firmly believe that we need to think about a liaison point of where if somebody's going to try to get into the schools, there has to be a meeting point between the good and the bad before they get into the school area. And I'm talking about armed guards for our school. I advocate that. Am I wrong?
No, I don't think that's wrong. Again, I don't think this is a very easy. I don't think there's a very easy answer, to this solution. You referenced Columbine, and again, I don't want to speak negatively of anybody. I was able to talk to actually a couple of the detectives down there. I went to a conference when I was in law enforcement. I actually have the videotapes of the school cameras tucked away in my home for research, and they had a full-time SRO down there. So I think we really need to look at, that's one part of kind of the whole pie in the solution. My personal preference is, you mentioned I'm former law enforcement. I like guns. I like carrying guns. That's just kind of part of my past, and so I would be okay, with that. But again, I don't want to speak for everybody else, and, some people have some real strong opinions on that. So again, I think that's just kind of one piece of the puzzle that we need to look at.
Kit, one thing I want to mention, I'm almost out of time. We had a caller trying to call in, but I do not have time to take the call. I've got to go on with the rest of this program. One of the things I said earlier last hour with Rita Ramsey is I don't think we as parents or school administrators sometimes give enough credit to the kids themselves for really knowing and understanding the gravity of the situation. And I think sometimes we try to protect them too much to the point where, oh, well, little Johnny, we'll take care of it. You don't need to know about that. I think we need to inform our kids even more about the evil that's out there. Do you think I'm wrong on that point?
No, 100% agree with you. The terminology we use in the education realm is digital citizenship, and I don't think we can overemphasize or overeducate our students in that area.
Absolutely. Now, these threats that have come into 3 schools here locally, and like I said, I used the word before, and I don't want it to occur again, the copycat syndrome. What do you think from this point on should be done by the news media, by sheriff's offices? I mean, how much more on the alert can we be to acknowledge these threats and make sure the authorities are made aware?
Yeah, the big thing is, we just need to get the information out, as soon as it happens. I know right now with the digital age, people assume that whenever a threat or a tip comes in, that 100 people have seen it and somebody has reported that.
Right.
We kind of need that to change, and we need people to, for lack of a better term, again, over-report. If you see something, you need to call, or if you hear something, you need to call. I just read an article where a school shooting was stopped, and the security officer just happened to hear a conversation, overhear a conversation the student was having, and that ended up to stopping a shooting. So we need people to just be vigilant in reporting everything. It may not be anything, but again, we're not going to gamble with safety.
Well, you bring up an excellent point, and I want you to elaborate on it just a little bit more. When it comes to seeing something, say something, but at that juncture when you say something, then the authorities, whether it's police, whether it is any form of law enforcement, they darn sure better not drop the ball.
Absolutely, and that's what our threat assessment team is trying to do. I think we've done a good job, but we can always improve. Is we have not just members of the school district, we have members of law enforcement, from mental health, from juvenile detention, all come together. And the sole goal is that we're in constant communication, and so no one party drops the ball, and we're following these individuals in whatever realm they go to. They may leave early high school, or they may leave our district, but we want the information that we have here to follow them wherever they may go.
Kid, I think to sum it up, yesterday when President Trump had the visiting session at the White House and they had all different forms of opinion being articulated, they being the politicians, they had better not stymie on this. They'd better get something done now.
Yeah, and again, it's real difficult because from one standpoint, as a school district, we want to be inviting. We want the community to come in. We want kids to be happy when they come in. We want parents to be able to come in. But yet at the same time, that has to be measured with, we better know who exactly is coming in our doors. So locally, we're trying to do that. But again, there's a lot of pressure on here. This is a trend that's doing nothing but spiking and going upward. So something's got to give.
I hope you'll come back and visit with us again. I have the utmost respect for your opinions on my program. Kit, I'm going to say the last name if I'm wrong, Kanakoa, right?
You betcha. That's good.
Okay. Thank you for being on our program this morning.
You betcha. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Excellent man right there. And as I said, he is the vice principal at Burley High School and on the threat assessment team and a former law enforcement officer. And I sincerely respect him for taking the time to come on our show this morning. On behalf of School Days in Cassia County, brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley and Ambulatory Surgery Center, 1344 Highland in Burley. We're going to have another guest with us in just a moment, but right now I also want to remind you that Sheridan Ranch is going to have their great, big, huge 23rd annual bull sale, March 3rd, Saturday, March 3rd, at the Burley Auction Yard. You better believe it. It's going to start at 1 p.m. Lunch will be provided at noon. Oh, it's a good lunch, too. They'll be selling 80 head of bulls, 30 coming 2-year-olds, 50 yearlings, and free delivery up to 300 miles. Cordell and Patty Sheridan, the best. They've really put together a great line of cattle over the years, and you can call them and get more information at 824-5531 or go to their website, www.sheridancattle.com. Sheridan Ranch Bull Sale on March 3rd. Woo! Right now, let's go to the phone line again, and we say good morning to a lovely lady. Holly Rowe, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Zeb?
Well, just peachy. And you, of course, represent Pomerel Place, a place for senior living. And every day on the ads, excuse me, I got a little frog in my throat. Every day on the ads, we talk about seniors living alone and the fear of maybe having an accident or not eating properly and not taking their medication. I want you to elaborate on that a little bit, because sometimes when a spouse loses a spouse, they kind of give up on really taking care of themselves, don't they?
Yes, they do. Just being on their own alone, just a possible trip on a cord or anything is dangerous for them. But, nowadays the big thing is urinary tract infections. If they're not getting enough water, they can get a UTI really quick, and something that causes is confusion. They can actually see things. They get really sick really fast, and it can actually take them very fast. Things that need to be watched for them is our medications, things like that. If they don't have somebody checking on them at least on a daily basis, couple every other day basis, you can get into some big problems real soon and then go, oh my gosh, what happened? I just talked to him the other day. A fall, anything like that, they could be laying on the floor for hours, even days.
I can think of a relative of mine years ago that when she lost her spouse, she did nothing but just basically sit in the house every day and withered away. And what you're saying is just absolutely, it's so sorrowful. And they don't take their medication. They don't get out of the chair to go eat. They just basically sit in front of the TV and wither away. And it's not just an isolated case. That happens in a lot of senior citizens' homes, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It does. And in the sorrow and the grief process, everybody goes through it, but sometimes it's hard to see beyond the sorrow and the grief.
Absolutely.
And you don't feel like eating when you're in grief. You don't feel like doing anything but crying. You have a hard time sleeping. That can bring on even more depression. It can bring on so many different things. And they need that. They need the social. You know, like I said before, our human spirit needs social. And if you don't get any social, it's damaging to your spirit along with your physical body.
And you know, there's one little sentence here that I use every day. Senior living offers the ability for seniors to maintain their independence both safely and comfortably at a Pomerel Place at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. I've been there, and the environment is extremely friendly and warm. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Our environment is completely different from some other facilities or communities that you might visit. Our staff has a deep love for our residents, and we are family through and through between the staff and the residents families. As far as their independence goes and stuff, we're set up to where they can have their complete independence. They can do everything that they want to do, from laundry to having their food in their room, you know, making their own little snacks, that kind of stuff, all the way to coming and going with family, or even if they have their own car. They can park their cars here, and they can come and go to their doctor's appointments. They can go shopping. They can do whatever they want, or they can be, go on the social trips where they can go shopping with the group, those kind of things. It just helps them to feel safe and be more secure in their environment, to know somebody is there for them, even if they're needed.
Absolutely.
They can easily pull the string or see the girls come in with the medications as many times through the day. If they need something, even to talk, we take the time to talk with our residents, build the relationship with our residents. And so a lot of the elderly senior citizens need that.
Absolutely.
They just need to know that they're not left behind.
Absolutely. The number to call, Pomerel Place for senior living at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley, 677-8212. Holly and the staff will absolutely answer all your questions. Holly Rowe, thank you for being on our program this morning, and I got a feeling, I don't know why, but I think I'll be seeing you in about an hour.
You will. I'll be there.
Okay, thank you much. God bless. Have a good day. Thank you. Holly Rowe, and she's with Pomerel Place, a place for senior living in Burley. We are going to send this back to our main studio right now, and I'll be back with my next guest in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
And thank you very much, and we're going to get right into this next guest because it's going to be an abbreviated segment. I'd like to say a good morning to a gentleman that is representative of Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, Mitch Goodwin. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Great.
It's good to have you on our program, and I would imagine, Mitch, that right now you're probably tearing your hair out like all the other people at Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. This is tax time, and you are busy.
Oh, you said it. It's a real busy time, especially right now. We got a March 1 deadline for the farmers coming up, so...
Well, now tell me this, a day in the life of an accountant at this time of the year, you have to brace yourself, and I'm sure probably get in training for this time of the year. What's it like being an accountant today?
Well, I wish I had something to compare it to back in the days when they didn't have so many computers and things like that. Right now, we're more capable of producing or doing more taxes than they were maybe back in the 90s and things like that. So... in a way, it's easier, but as we've gotten more technology and more stuff like that, the government has not been afraid to complicate things. So they have no fear of just completely changing the rules willy-nilly.
When you say changing the rules and new tax laws and everything, I guess I'm very impressed as to how you keep up on everything. I mean, do you attend like weekly or monthly seminars? I mean, man, things change all the time.
Yeah, well... if you're a CPA, you have some education requirements. You have about 40 hours you have to complete each year. But in general, I mean, as soon as that tax law, for example, came out in December, I pulled a copy of what they had on there, and I went through with what I knew and just updated my knowledge about what they have changed and how it will affect me. And the whole reason I got into tax preparation in the first place is because back in college I was really excited about, of course, getting my refund. So I did a little analogy on how it affected me, and then I'm able to pass on to my clients exactly, well, not exactly, but a good idea of what it does to their tax situation.
Well, answer this, Mitch, in regards to the new laws and the new structures, the new regulations and everything. Are they good, bad, or ugly?
Well, the main objective, I think we need to take a step back and just look at the main objective, and that was President Trump. He wanted to encourage business or to make us more competitive in the world market, and he did that with this tax law change. He gave a significant cut to not only corporations but to small business owners in general, so that's some good news, especially around this area. If you're owning a business, you are going to see a significant tax cut. And on the personal side of things, they did try to do something called simplification, and when you simplify something, you don't necessarily make it more fair for other people. And it would have meant a little bit of a tax increase for most people, except at the last minute they jumped up that child tax credit. And so while the people I think that are most affected in this way are the truckers out there, because they lost some important deductions that they would have if they're staying away from home overnight and things like that. But overall, as individuals, we should be breaking even a little bit, maybe even get a little bit of a refund because of the tax law change, and as businesses, we should see significant reductions in our tax liabilities.
You know, Mitch, I don't pull punches on this program. I just tell it like it is. I have had a bad experience with the IRS. They made the mistake, not me or my accountant. They did. And are they trying to get their situation straightened out? I know with Koskinen and some of the others that absolutely showed poor leadership. Are they finally getting things straightened out at the IRS?
Well, I think that they have the problem that they have is that they have a limited budget, and they can only attract so much talent with the budget that they have. And so the one thing that they have done, and that was not done by them, but by Congress themselves, they simplified the things they took out of the tax code in December were things that were kind of complicated and that were hard for them to audit and things like that. So they've decreased the amount of work that the IRS has to do in certain ways, and that's probably helped them out a little bit. But they've also cut back the staffing that they got there, and to be honest, I don't think they're going to be doing any better job
I see.
in the near future.
Well, and I think, tell me this, Mitch, I personally, I stood up and I said, wait a minute, you guys are wrong, and I'm absolutely going to come after you. I'm going to tell you, I told them in a belligerent voice that I would not accept their incompetency, and I think people have to tell them that. They shouldn't just cower in fear. That's
true. You gotta know that the people on the other side of the phone line or on the other side of the letters that you're sending in, they're just 9-to-5ers most of the time, and they're doing their best. But if I've seen errors more than once, to be honest, and they're not given the best tools all the time. So if you can be precise and even get some help on your end, you can usually win any kind of argument you got with the IRS. But you gotta be knowing what you're doing and have some experience behind you.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you this. This is already mid to latter February, and then tax time is just looming over around the next corner. What would you tell people that have put everything off until now? What do they need to get put together? What do they need to do? Because, boy, it's creeping up on us, April 15th.
Yeah, it does creep up kind of quick. The real kicker is that they have the laws that they're supposed to send out your tax forms in a certain amount of time. And, most companies do, but some of them just send out a preliminary one and then they send a corrected one. So the reality is that everybody gets all their documentation right at the same time, right through mid-March, all the way through April. And it's just real hectic. And you should realize that sometimes you're not going to be able to get it done before April 15th, but just remember that you can get an extension if you need one.
Yeah.
And just to communicate with your tax preparer well. And if you're going to end up owing, that's what you really need to tell them.
All right.
And just you can get a feel for whether or not you're going to owe just by whether or not you think you've had a good year.
You know, I think, is it at the point now with the changing revolutionary ideas and new regulations and everything, can a person honestly treat themselves fairly by figuring out their own tax return? I don't see it myself.
Well, you got to look at it this way. TurboTax, they want to provide a product that's good, but they're not going to do anything complicated for you. They may say they can, but I had an acquaintance of mine try to do his own taxes. He says, yeah, I just did TurboTaxes, and I asked him, was he in school on certain things, and he answered, yeah, he was, and I said, well, you better let me take a look at it. So I took a look at it, and he robbed himself of $1,000.
Wow.
And that's actual money. And so I said, well, let me try to fix it for you on TurboTax, and TurboTax would not allow me to do it. So I had to come in and amend it on my software. So that's the honest truth. You can go do TurboTax if you want, but they are kind of leery of anything that they would have to argue for or actually do some work for on the site. So,
real quick now, when you're getting ready to go to the accountant and you're trying to put together all the receipts here and the receipts there and everything, keeping those receipts, I've had people tell me, I ain't going to keep all those receipts, it's just a waste of time. Is it?
Well, I usually try to think to myself, if you're not going to get a deduction for something unless it's like been a big expense for you. So unless you have a business. If you have a business, you keep those receipts. But for the average person, the things you got to watch out is if you had a bad medical year, I mean, where you've had a lot of out-of-pocket costs, then there's a possibility we might be able to get you some deductions. With the new tax law, it's very unlikely because they just changed things so much that it's very unlikely that you'll be itemizing for the average person. So I would say just, stick with the rule of thumb. Keep your mortgage interest, and the bank keeps track of that for you. Keep your donations. That's usually pretty simple. And if it's a bad medical year, keep those. Otherwise, don't worry too much about it.
You know, Mitch, when you talk about deductions, and like I've been privately employed all my life, boy, it seems like the government and the IRS, they're doing all they can to minimize your deductions, so basically you don't have any.
Yeah. They're kind of jaded. Let's just put it that way. They think everybody's out to rip off the government, whatever, but what they don't realize is that you're just trying to make a living and run your business. And
right.
You have to have expenses. You have to spend money to make money. So.
Absolutely. You know, ladies and gentlemen, this man is indicative of the professionals that are out serving you at Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. Mitch Goodwin, I want to say thank you for taking your time to come on our program this morning. And I know your desk probably looks like a disaster zone right now, but go back to work, and thank you for all your time on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Good young man right there, Mitch Goodwin of Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. Accounting services right here in the Mini-Cash area with offices in Burley and Rupert. Woo, busy time for them right now. We're going to have a weather forecast quickly, and the weather is brought to you by our dear friend Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657, and you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Oh, my goodness. The list goes on and on of all the delicious meats. I mean, whether you're talking about breakfast sausage or brats or bacons or prime rib, or smoked hams, all of this and so much more at Scarrow's Meats, north of Jerome. Right now, here's our weather.
Looks like Mother Nature decided we're going to have some more winter. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are expecting some scattered snow showers for today, mostly afternoon, mostly cloudy skies, high of 31, and they're saying total daytime accumulations of less than 1 inch possible. For tonight, those snow showers could continue under mostly cloudy skies. Still going to be a little bit on the breezy side with the low right near 14. For tomorrow, 20% chance of snow showers before noon, mostly cloudy skies, then gradually becoming sunny as we hit tomorrow afternoon, high of 27. Wind chill factor values as low as -1 for tomorrow. Tomorrow night, increasing clouds with a low of 18. Saturday, 40% chance of snow showers in the forecast, breezy, and a high of 33. That is your weather for Zeb at 3.
And don't forget our dear friends at Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657, and they are changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. They are good. Scarrows Meats. We are, in just a moment, going to wrap it up and put it back in the closet for this week and be back again on Monday. We're going to go to Lunch Bunch, and I want to thank again our gift certificate sponsors. They are Walmart, Smith's Foods, Hanson Mortuary, Stokes Groceries, and Doug Martin and Denny's. Thank you very much. Along with, on occasion, we get a gift certificate and gifts to pass out from Pomerelle Place, and we're very appreciative. That's going to be at Denny's at 11:30, our Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Of course, our major sponsor on this program is, of course, all 7 locations of the Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And, you know, service is the key word. 7-letter word, and it means so much. Doing the right thing matters, and they always do the right thing to serve you. I mean, they've got a free brake check where you can stop in and have your brakes checked, and if you need service, you can rely on the fact that they have the best in brake service with highly trained technicians. Front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. They've got all the tires for your car. Whether it's your car, pickup, SUV, horse trailer, whatever. Stop in and see them today. They're celebrating their founder's celebration in honor of the great Mr. Les Schwab, and they just want to make sure that you drive safely. And be sure and stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family over in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Well, Old Wheels over at the station is going to play a couple of tunes, and he's going to let me escape out the back door here a little bit early so I can get on the highway and get down to Lunch Bunch. Wheels, be careful. It started to snow here a little bit, but we're still headed down to Burley. You be careful. We'll see you there.
Will do, sir, and you guys do the same, and me and my mom will see you guys soon.
We'll look forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, until next Monday at 8:06, Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell, and we'll turn on the knobs at 8:06 next Monday on K-Bar, 12:30, and then streaming live on ZebBell.com all over the Internet. And remember this over the weekend, God bless you and your family, and remember the way things were are the way things ought to be. See you Monday.